All right, good morning, everybody. It's Monday, 29th, and this is the, general session regarding the or feedback session, voluntary feedback session for videos and reports. I hope you all had a good weekend. I've noticed that many of you have submitted assignment 1. That's fantastic. I do see that some of you have not submitted. So in case you think you have a good medical reason, for example, please do get in touch with me so that we can potentially extend your due date. But please keep in mind, if you request, whenever you request extensions, please do send along some documentation. As always, you can blacken information, block out information that is maybe highly personal. This is perfectly fine, but I still need to see that it's some official document. Good. All right, I see six students in the classroom, in the Zoom meeting. There is no particular agenda for today. My idea is, or my hope was, based on the message that I sent last week, that you all simply come along, you ask questions about the report, you maybe share an outline of your report, you share an outline of your slides, maybe you want to give a demo, you want to do a dry run of your video, or show your video even. Yeah, so it's a feedback session. So I don't have anything in particular to show. Well, I could show you the spreadsheet, I could show you all the information that's online, but you probably have had a look at it. Speaking just super briefly of the spreadsheet, 28 or 29 of you have selected talks, also have selected papers, which is fantastic. So we have 29 students and we have 28 or 29 here who have actually picked papers, so that's good. And I hope that you all are working towards these. Yep, and you have a few weeks still to go until video 1 is due and report 1 is due. So those of you who have questions, please unmute yourself or type the questions in the forum, in the chat, and yeah, let me know.
Hi, Marcus.
Hi.
Good morning. Yeah,
Hey,
so I have prepared a video. So if I would like to get a feedback, should I share it now and play the recording, or should we send it across to you?
No, yeah, sure. Why not? Share the video. So you can share your screen and then share the video. So we currently have, so just for everybody's information, this is perfectly fine. The videos should be relatively short anyhow, so 6 to 7 minutes. So we do have, in principle, the entire 2 hours now. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
Of course, I will try to keep to distribute the time fairly across the 5 or 6 of you now. So yeah, Vinci, please go ahead, share your screen. When you share the screen, I should have said this a little earlier. The Zoom window on the bottom left has two boxes. One of them is share audio, and the other one is share or optimize for video. I'm not sure whether you've seen these two little check boxes before you selected your screen.
Oh, I did not.
Okay, if you want to say, okay, so good. It's good that you stopped sharing. So share again, but before you click on your little desktop within the window that pops up, check on the bottom left whether there are two check boxes that you can tick for audio and for something like video transmission optimization.
In the video, start video option, is it?
Start video option? No, you're currently not sharing your screen.
Okay, let me just share my screen so that you can guide me.
And when you share the screen, then a large window pops up with all the windows that are open in Zoom. In this large window at the bottom left, there are two little boxes.
Optimize for video clip.
Correct. Please click that one, and I think there's another one regarding audio. So.
Yeah, there's one share sound. There's two options under it.
Or share sound, and yes.
Stereo.
Good. Yeah, mono, stereo, either is fine. Just share sound. There is a good chance, I'm briefly saying this, there's a good chance that it will still work, but apparently Zoom thinks that there is a benefit in having these two boxes. So let's just be on the safe side for now.
Got it. So when I'm playing, sharing the video, should I mute myself or?
It should still work. let's simply see what happens.
Okay.
But at the moment, you're not sharing your screen.
And
Now something's started sharing. Good. I can see your Explorer. Well, probably we can all see your Explorer. So open the video and we'll see what happens when you start. Yep, we can hear you.
Talk about generating
Good.
effective test suite by combining coverage criteria. The motivation here is that the cost of testing increases as the complexity of the software increases. An automated test suite generation can help in decreasing the cost of testing without compromising on the quality. However, though the search-based test generation improved coverage, it was not effective in detecting faults. This experiment by Gregory Gay proved that combining multiple criteria improved identifying the defects without compromising on the coverage up to 31.31%. In this experiment, he has used EvoSuite and 8 coverage criteria to examine the efficacy of multiple criteria along with 3 strategies, namely top rank strategy, which selects top 2 or 4 coverage criteria and combines them. The boost strategy, which is a criteria that backs up a central criteria where the central criteria performs poorly on its own. Unique criteria, strategy criteria, which supports a criteria that defects highest number of unique faults. And these two combined he has applied on 5 Java projects which contain 353 faults in them. The fitness function here is something that finds maximum number of defects without deterioration in the coverage as well. Applying EvoSuite to determine the efficacy of single criteria, it was found that branch coverage was most effective under both search budget. However, when the search budget was increased, we did see that direct branch coverage, line coverage, and weak mutation coverage improved the efficacy as well. Now, experiment was carried out to see if combination of criteria outperformed the single top criteria which we saw in the previous slide, which was branch coverage or direct branch coverage. In order to reduce the cost, we used the strategies to choose the combination. It was found that across all systems and both the 2-minute and the 10-minute budget, at least one combination outperformed top single criteria. Based on the result, we did see that unique fault strategy performed best overall results with 9 of top strategies for 2 minutes and 24 for 10-minute budget. And secondly, we did see that boosting strategies suggested 3 for 2 minutes and 17 for 10 minutes, and likewise top rank strategies suggested 7 for 2 minutes and 14 for 10-minute budget. The efficacy percentage of 2-minute budget and 10-minute budget for each of the strategies has been mentioned. Yet, this cannot be suggested as a general purpose strategy. Therefore, in order to identify the best combination, more research was needed. And hence, it was noticed that exception coverage, even though it performed poorly on its own, it was selected as a part of combination of multiple combinations, and also the reason was because it was a low cost criteria. So we combine exception coverage with top best single criteria and overall combination as well, which was the branch coverage and the line coverage. In certain times systems, we did see that direct branch coverage outperformed the normal branch coverage. Hence, we added that as well in our combination. And from exception coverage was applied to all these, and from the results of both the search budget, it was found that the best combination included exception coverage. But it is effective when it was paired with criteria that explores structure like branch coverage or line coverage. Let's take for example this function, this method that calls contains as well as index of looks beyond the end of the string. So this will not be detected by branch coverage or line coverage, but it will be only detected by an exception coverage. But the exception coverage can only detect this when the location has been directed to the path by branch coverage or line coverage. So we did see that combining exception coverage with the branch coverage, the percentage boost was improved from 10% to 40% for a 2-minute budget and 20% to a 90% under 10-minute budget. Similarly, we did see another low-cost criteria was method coverage, and it was applied to the similar as the previous combinations, the branch coverage, the line coverage, as well as we did see the top combinations which was not tested so far. So with all these, the method coverage was applied, and under the 2-minute budget we did see method coverage for under certain system outperform the combination, while this was not stable because certain other systems the efficacy was decreased. And hence we conclude that though the good points of this is that we provide coverage as well as identifying faults, it proves that the combination of criteria outperforms a single criteria, and including exception coverage with a structure based coverage like branch coverage detected more fault at a low cost. We also see that this proves that when search budget is increased, the efficacy of combinations is also increased. The disadvantage of this is that we see that testing has been performed only on 5 systems. Tool performance here could not be determined because only one testing framework is used. However, the performance might differ for other testing frameworks. Due to cost constraint, we have only performed 10 trials per combinations here. So future work is that automating to identify the best combination for a given system under test would be the best possible way. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Let's give Vinci a round of applause. But I'll be clapping, maybe so you're clapping as well.
Thank you.
Good. I've taken a whole bunch of notes. Maybe the others want to go ahead. So I see we have Kate in the room, Sungwon, Zelin, Anthony, Wills, Songse, and Kiran. Anyone wants to go ahead and say something, provide some feedback to Vinci? What did you like? What did you not like? Or you can simply ask Vinci a question about the research. Maybe I'll start very simple, but just with a research-related question. You talked about EvoSuite. Can you just briefly, in your own words, say again what is EvoSuite?
So it is basically a Java program tool which uses coverage criteria to perform testing, to build a test suite.
Okay, sounds good. I have a Java tool for also Java code or for any code, well, for Python or C++. So it targets only Java code or maybe also other languages?
No, it is written in Java code, but basically it builds a test suite based on the coverage.
Sure,
coverage criteria. Yeah.
But sure, it does that. What language, for which programs can it build such test suites? So is it for Python programs, also for Java programs, or C++? Prolog?
I think it's for Java programs.
Yes. So it's definitely for Java programs. Maybe for other programs or other programming languages, but yes. Good. Okay. Cool. Anyone in the audience? Any technical questions, or how about feedback regarding the presentation? Anyone wants to give a thumbs up or anything? There's no thumbs down. Anything through the reactions? Just waiting another few seconds. No. All right. So from my side, you definitely get a thumbs up. There were lots of good things in the presentation, and I'll simply talk everybody through this. And Vinci, can you please open the slides? Then it becomes a little easier for me to refer to a particular component. So you can start with probably slide. But let's just briefly go through it slide by slide. So maybe on slide number 1 here you can super briefly mention also the conference and the authors of the paper.
Okay. Yeah.
So just a tiny detail.
Okay.
Good. Then next slide, please. I like that you are using custom graphics. That's good. I think this was all understandable. I wasn't entirely sure here about the way you presented it, and when you clicked on, you did the last click, and then this opening parenthesis came together. Maybe in case you plan to record this maybe once more, or at least that section, maybe click on the parenthesis earlier, so that then people see this for a little while and see, this is actually, or it draws on coverage and fault detection. Because in this case, the parentheses appeared very late, and then maybe half a second later, you click to the next slide.
Okay, got it.
Next slide, please. I like that in the top left, you have the slide numbers. This makes it very easy now for everybody to refer to, say, slide 3, slide 5, slide 10. Well, 10 slides probably nobody should have in a 6 or 7 minute presentation anyhow, but so this was good. It was very prominent in the top left to have that slide number, so that's really helpful. I like the level of detail here. It's sometimes presenters have tendency to have a lot of text on the slides. Here you had the almost like bullet points, or you had this tiny little bit of information on the slides, but you were then also saying 1 or 2 sentences about, for example, you were explaining boost strategy, you were explaining fault strategy, top rank strategy. So this was really helpful. So that was good. Number 4, please. Did I have something about? Yes. What I liked here was, sure, you took a screenshot and it was still visible or readable. What I liked is that you highlighted with the arrows the parts that were of interest to you. I'm saying this for the others because sometimes it happens that a presenter just throws this entire table at people and does not highlight anything, and then simply expects the audience to, I don't know, find the interesting part in the table himself or herself. So this is just unrealistic. So here it's good that you highlighted the parts that you found most interesting, and that you put a little bit of text next to it. So that's good. Next slide, please. Here on the, well, okay, the table in the middle is a little hard to read, but it's okay-ish, I guess, because you're still explaining what people should be seeing there. I also like that on the right-hand side, you have your custom tables. So you are, probably these tables are not screenshots taken from the paper, but they are.
Yeah, that's something I created.
Yes, so that's good, because maybe this was just in raw text, or maybe it was a diagram or so. So this is good.
It was a real text which I made it to tabular form. Good.
The advantage is of this table that you can contrast it's very clear what you want to show, and it's not 10 or whatever 30 words, 50 words that somebody has to read. So it's good. Right. During your presentation, I noticed that you use we. I understand that, of course, you did not do the research. It is okay to use we here, because otherwise it becomes just a little inconvenient to say they or Gregory or Professor Gay or whatever. So using we is okay in such presentations, although you haven't done the research, so that's fine. Here on this slide, I like that on the right-hand side, you were first building up what you will be showing then later. There's all the different combinations, like the what is it, DBC, EC, and so on. So that's good. I like this. It's also important to, because potentially you were thinking of either yourself or maybe the audience, so that you revealed this entire slide step by step by step. This is really helpful, because if you show this entire thing, if you throw it at the audience, they will start at the top left and try to make sense of the table while you are talking about something completely different, or, well, yeah. So this quickly creates some friction. and the audience does not take away that much from the presentation in the end. So the step-by-step reveal, I guess, of the slides is really helpful. That was good, thank you. Then on slide 7, you added a bit more information with these examples. Sure, the examples might have been taken from the paper, but again, they might help the audience to understand. I think maybe, so in case you redo slide 7, maybe you can spend another sentence or two just highlighting either with the mouse or with some text, like a little rectangle or some circle or so to highlight the interesting parts. Because now afterwards, I know, sure, you're not presenting at the moment, but now it becomes a little tricky for me to highlight, to see, okay, what are the important parts here?
Okay, got it. Like where the string is going out of bounds and things like that.
For example, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. You like what you had on an earlier slide with a table, maybe just a little bit of text that you overlay again, a tiny bit of information.
Okay.
Cool. Then did I have something with 8? No, again, you highlighted a bit the parts, also 7, 8, yes, 7, 8. The parts that were important, that's fine. Good. Number 9, it was detailed. So I like this. It was also not very generic, like people could have, or the authors could have described this better or that better. Sure, this is always possible. So it's custom feedback that you've provided here on the paper. So that's good. Step by step again. Yes, I think that's it. Did you have a slide 9? No, you don't have a slide 10. Good. No, so finishing on slide 8 is fine. It is not necessary, and I'll briefly mention this for everybody. A summary slide or a thank you slide is typically not necessary. It just costs time, especially a thank you slide just costs time. But maybe some people prefer thank you slides, that's okay. In a conference or so, a thank you slide unfortunately does not have much information. Here, finishing with critique is fine. You do not have to repeat everything again because it's not you do not need a summary. And the advantage would be if we were now in a classroom setting, you could leave this slide up and we would immediately have something to talk about, or even at a conference. Well, at a conference, you would not have a critique, you would have maybe a summary slide, highlighting the key points, maybe having one of the graphs again, showing how good the results are, or repeating some of the core insights. That's all great. But the thank you slide is typically not necessary. So good. Yes. So you see, I don't have anything substantial here. It looks to me like an already pretty good presentation with a good level of detail. And you worked within the time limit. So you were talking very fluently. You got a lot of information across. Yeah, that's fine. And you took less than 7 minutes.
Yeah, thank
cool.
you. And also, Moses,
yes.
with regards to the report, I've done the report for the first research paper that I've selected. And when I did paste it on Turnitin and checked all the the references and everything, I've got a percentage of 10. Is that still fine, or should the percentage should be lesser than that?
I think 10 sounds okay. Did you save a copy of that Turnitin report, or did you get it via email maybe?
I didn't get it by email, but it's still available in Turnitin though.
Okay. Can you do me a favor, just because I'm just curious what it looks like. So long story short, 10% sounds okay to me.
Okay.
If you have time later, maybe you can email me this report just so that I get to see what Turnitin has highlighted. Okay, sure. Yeah, it is 10% can happen easily because maybe you were using some definitions, and because for certain things there are only so many ways of rephrasing certain things, and maybe it also picked up on tables. Hey, then we can work with this. So 10% at the moment sounds very reasonable. Okay, sure. We've had cases in the past where students would copy entire paragraphs over, and this would probably put Turnitin would not like this very much. So yeah, as I said, if possible, please send me the report later.
Yes,
just
I'll
for me,
email it.
because I'm curious. Yes, email it. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other feedback from the others in the audience? Positive, negative, or maybe Vinci, in case you can think of something. What would you do in case you will do
So
another recording?
I
What would you change?
In few slides, the pages were blank. So it was just me talking while the slide was blank. So I thought maybe I could introduce what I'm speaking about, maybe a small liner slide or something like that. That is something I did feel.
I didn't see it too much. So blank slides are not necessarily a problem, and very often you had information then that you were showing over time, so that's fine. What I like, and I really want to mention this once more, is that you did not have entire sentences on the slides. When I put entire sentences on the slides, I tend to look at the slides and then read the sentence off. So then there's no benefit to the audience. You are there to, no, sorry, the other way around. The slides are there to support your presentation, to support your presentation, not the other way around. You're not the presenter of the slides. And I think in your case that you did a very good job.
Thank you, Marcus.
Cool. Vinci, do you have other questions at the moment regarding either your video?
No, that would be all.
Okay, cool. How about the others? Again, Kate, Suman, Zilin, Anthony, Songse, Kieran. How about your videos, your reports? Kate? Hi, Marcus. In the critique, how can you determine its pros and cons? This is the part I'm having trouble with. Okay. How can you critique it? There's a little bit of trouble now, because all the things that I might say now, you might think, these are maybe you might think, they are fantastic, let me write them down and critique them right away. Or, okay, this sounds a bit strange, or say, okay, this doesn't really apply to my paper and I can't really critique anything here. With the, I think what could help you, or you as in the general you, is the lecture on working with stochastic algorithms, lecture number 2, I believe it was. Because there are many of these papers that you've read, they are optimization papers. And the question is, have they, for example, established a good baseline? Have they justified every design decision? Where do their benchmarks come from? Have they run everything just once? Have they run it multiple times? Have they used a good visualization of the results, or is it just a table? Are they reporting on the distribution of the results, or is it just, just that they simply say, okay, we are better than the competition, which hopefully never happens in a published paper. Yes. So I think it's much along these lines. So have they made a fair comparison? Have they established a baseline? Have they made a fair comparison? Are they justifying everything along the way? For Vinci, I remember, for example, that she said they've demonstrated their approach on only EvoSuite. Or at least they looked into different coverage criteria. So in principle, one of the weaknesses of that paper could be that, hey, everything is just potentially limited by the effectiveness on EvoSuite. And in principle, this is true because they have not run the experiments using any other tool. So there's a small chance, or there's a chance, not necessarily a small chance, there's a chance that whatever these researchers, so I think Gregory Gay and others, have done on EvoSuite, that it does not automatically carry over to another test suite generation tool with, on maybe even on another programming language. The authors for sure have tried to make it look a bit generalizable by looking at different target projects and different coverage criteria and combinations. Another generic bit is always that, well, say, okay, this is a bit tricky because you haven't really spent too much time in this entire field. Maybe the researchers assume a lot of knowledge and don't introduce all the concepts, right? This is a bit generic to say this, because papers can never be 100% self-contained, because at some point you have to explain every single word. So but something like method coverage, line coverage, these are very simple concepts that in principle many of us should have an idea, or if we need to, we can learn about them within a minute or two on Googling. But if it's a substantial concept that's missing and they simply build upon it, maybe this can be seen as criticism. Yeah. Yep. Besides this, Kate, how can you determine pros and cons? Part of it is experience. So once you see the second paper, once you do this for the second paper, ideally you will have gotten feedback from us on whether what was maybe missing in your pros and cons on the first paper. And in addition, I think we are planning to have one session where we are showing some videos. So this is also an opportunity to learn then from others. Hey, Tina liked this, Tony didn't like that, and so on. So it's experience. Much of this is experience. But it very much revolves around justifying, either theoretically or experimentally, every single design decision. This is really important. At least it's important to me. Okay. I hope this helped a little bit. I see your response there. Thank you. Good. Yeah. If you need more information, just keep asking. Okay, who else? Questions, concerns? Any one of you has come across a paper that was super challenging and you want us to maybe help you understand the paragraph in the paper? Nothing? I just happen to remember one more part of the working with stochastic algorithms lecture, and that is insights. I like insights. Insights help the field, and insights sometimes, because insights are the distilled result of research. Sure, it is very nice to increase a number of 88 to a 99. That's probably fantastic and deserves a prize and everything. But ideally, the authors not only push some numbers from 88 to 99, but also say, hey, we now learned something about the problem. And this can be, maybe this can be carried over to other problems. So insights are nice. And sometimes the authors do this for you. They are good, very well-written papers that present insights. Some other papers, they stop right at the tables and say, okay, here are the numbers and we are better, and that's it. In some areas, this is acceptable. I'd like to think that because of the conferences that I've picked, the threshold of getting accepted is relatively high. So you have to tick lots of technical boxes as well in order to get accepted at these events. This is still no guarantee. So there are, maybe by accident, you have still come across a bad paper or a mediocre paper, let me put it this way, where not everything is great. This can still happen. There's no performance guarantee even on the researchers' side. So Vinci, you still have some weeks to go to record your video, maybe once or twice more. At the moment, I think you're already in a pretty good position there. Anyone else has a video or some slides to share with us, or questions about the report?
Professor Wagner.
Yes, please.
Sorry to trouble you at this point, but like I was sick in the last like 10 days, and I missed the deadline to select the spotlight talk. So is
Yes.
there anything I can do now?
You can still select your talk. This is still fine. Do I see you somewhere? That is interesting. That okay? Maybe one of the students who unenrolled has not removed himself or herself from the list. So yes, please go ahead and still pick your talk. It's the deadline was last week, just so that you all start early to work on this.
Okay, thank you. Because like the exact same thing happened in one of my other courses. Like they also got some kind of report, and because I was like being in the bed for the whole 10 days, and I didn't really have a chance to do that also. So I'm really like frustrated in those days.
May I ask, do you have a doctor's certificate? Or do you
No,
have...
because
Okay.
right now I'm not in Australia, I'm in China.
Okay.
And under the COVID-19 situation in China, it's going to be hard for you to like go to the hospital if you are not getting COVID-19, but you are still having a fever or a sore throat or those things, because you may get a quarantine if you go to the hospital under this kind of situation.
I see. Okay. Good. Okay, that's interesting. Because I know this probably does not apply to many others in the call. The trouble is the following now. If so, I recognize, I'm trusting you for now that you really have been sick, but normally our procedures say you have to provide a certificate, something official that shows, hey, Zilin has been sick for example, 10 days. With this official certificate, then we can give you extensions. In your case now, you're saying you actually have very little interest in getting the certificate, because once you go to a hospital, they might put you into quarantine. So there are, well, not you have little interest, but it's kind of like it's difficult for you potentially to get a certificate. Okay, that is make
Professor Wagner. It should still be acceptable for me to get a certificate that proves I'm still sick right now, but I don't think I can get a certificate that proves I have already been sick since 10 days before.
Good. So let's do the following. If you think you need an extension for any deadline, so this applies to everybody, of course. So I'm just talking to Zilin now. If you think you need an extension, organize the certificate. Because with the certificate, I can give you an extension. No problem at all. No questions asked. For the last 10 days, okay, nothing has really been due. Well, have you been? Sorry, it would take me a moment.
I'm not missing the individual assignment one. I finished it on time.
Good. Okay, good. That's good to hear that. So, and as I said, for the paper selection, no problem. Go ahead and pick it as soon as possible. Maybe today or tomorrow.
Yeah, I will definitely finish it by tomorrow night. Thanks.
Good. Well, good. So that you then have enough time to actually do the presentation.
Yeah, organize it, well. Think about anything you need from it, and do everything.
Good.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wagner.
No problem at all.
Actually.
No problem at all. Yes, whenever you have these questions, simply ask. if you don't ask, we can't react to this. We don't know how you're doing. And by the way, I'm happy to see that you can dial in from overseas now. It works despite the distance, so you can participate in the teaching, in the lectures. It's not fantastic. We all are hoping that maybe next semester, latest next year, all of you can be studying here in Adelaide again. Yeah, but it's a situation that we have to deal with at the moment. Last year was much worse. So now everything is a bit more stable.
And another question, Professor Wagner.
Yes, please.
For right now, is it okay to connect you through the MyUni chat, or do you prefer the email? I can do both.
I prefer emails. It's the easiest for me because it ends up emails. So short answer emails.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else with maybe administrative questions? Nobody with any other questions? Well, then how about the following? I will stay here another 3 or 4 minutes. If you have any questions, just ask in the next minutes. But if there are no additional questions, I think we can conclude this feedback session, voluntary session. Keep in mind that on Wednesday, we'll have another somewhat similar session, but a bit more focusing on technical content. So on Wednesday. But if you happen to have maybe a video related question, or maybe something about your papers that you're trying to work your way through, just ask them on Wednesday. Although if you want to, you can ask now as well, because we have plenty of time. For now, I'd like to thank Vinci again for showing your video. I think that's has been a very good video. Very little that I would potentially optimize or change a little bit. Yeah, so as I said, I will simply stay here maybe another 3 minutes. If you have any questions, please ask. Any questions related to the course, of course. And yes, Celine.
I've got a question.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Let's just say if I don't really have a question to ask about my video or my slides right now, or probably even by Wednesday. But let's say, if in the next few days, if I do have a question, would it be okay to make an appointment and come and see you and just ask you those questions?
In principle, yes. So there are, yes. So short answer, yes, definitely. Depending on how many questions you have, it might be good to have this the appointment. I'm currently just ever so slightly hesitant because my calendar for the next days looks quite horrible. But we will find a time slot. We will find, let's say, 15 or 20 minutes where we can maybe talk through the technical questions. That is no problem at all. So this is definitely possible. Keep in mind, Friday is a public holiday. Let me just have a quick look at my calendar. There's a little bit of time on Wednesday after. Wait a second. No, there's a lecture. You should see my calendar at the moment. This is not to complain, but yeah, we will make it happen if necessary. And in the worst case, we'll have to maybe meet via Zoom online after hours. But we'll find it. We'll make it happen. Otherwise, next week, Tuesday or Wednesday, I have some time slots. So send me an email.
All right.
The alternative to this is the following. Post on the forums. I know it will take you maybe another 1 minute or two. So post a link to the paper on the forums and say, okay, these are the following 3 or 5 or 20 questions that you have. The reason I'm pointing briefly at the forums is maybe, although everybody has a different paper, maybe the conversation that we are then having publicly can help others to think about their papers as well. So
Okay,
there's
yeah.
a slight benefit for the entire course. Having said this, of course, yes, there are some time slots this week and next week. If you want to meet in person, we can definitely arrange for this.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
No problem at all. And this there was, yes. And this holds, of course, also this offer holds for the students who are in China or well overseas in general. We can't meet in person, but we can definitely arrange a short Zoom call for 15 or 20 minutes just to maybe talk through some of the technical aspects of a paper. No problem at all. Anyone else? Okay, last chance for today.
Marcus,
Yes.
I did see through the assignment 2 question that was posted over the weekend, and it looks quite challenging though, to be honest. But I would like to know if the marking would be entirely based on the output or the procedure that's been carried out, or how would it be?
So the assignment is challenging, but doable. It's a group assignment, so it requires some team coordination. It might also look challenging because we've added so much text to the paper to clarify lots of different aspects. So once you sit down for maybe an hour or 2 hours, well, maybe probably you won't need 2 hours to just read everything once. It is actually not that much. In addition, the assignment itself is worth, I believe, 10 or 15%, 15% of the entire course. So we also have to make sure that, well, no, wrong formulation. For the 15%, you have to work. You have to learn, understand, and in particular here, this assignment is not only coding. There is some documentation. There is some exercise 1 or 2. It's not coding. You can do this by hand or using Excel even. So there are some. Not everything is results based. So the documentation goes into it. Code quality goes into it. Yep.
Thank you.
And wait, let me briefly check the calendar again. When do we have it? Right.
April end.
27, 20, on the 28th of April, we have a progress presentation. And I might actually push back the assignment 2 by just a little bit. There's unfortunately no other time slot that works for this. What we tend to do for these big assignments is that we have these progress presentations where each group can present and get feedback on what they've done so far. So it's not mandatory, but it's an opportunity to share with the others, hey, these are our, well, results, or these have been our problems. Well, in particular, maybe we have to be careful with showing results, because this we don't want to tempt other people to simply copy over numbers and say, oh, this is what we figured out. So it's much about getting feedback in the week after the mid-semester break. So there will be an opportunity, but I'm now realizing that between Wednesday and Friday, there's very little time to actually take the feedback on board. While 2 days can be a good amount of time, maybe I'll push back the assignment due date by a tiny little bit. Yes, let me do this. I'll push this back. I can't push it back by too much because at some point assignment 3 will come out. But yeah, that's just a consequence, because we have the 22nd of April. 22nd of April is a public holiday. Based on my calendar. Cool, good. If you have time, so again for everybody, if you have time to go through the assignment 2 sheet before or well, until Wednesday, you can ask questions about assignment 2 on Wednesday this week as well. Anyone else? Last chance for today. Well, this is the last chance here in the chat. Of course, you can still ask via the forums later, or in case you have something maybe health related or otherwise related, you send me an email. Just checking the list here. Nope, no questions. Okay, then I would say let's conclude, or let's close this session here. We'll meet again on Wednesday for a technical Q&A. Thanks again, Vinci, for sharing your video, to everybody else for asking questions. And yeah, I'll close this meeting. And once I have the recording, I'll post it on the forums as well for the others, or maybe you want to revisit something as well. Cool. Good. Thank you, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.